I struggle to think of a better televisual representation of love, friendship and family than Gavin and Stacey.
What a nice thing to say. And what a nice way to sum it all up.
That feels truthful to me.
What do people shout at you on the tube? What's the most common refrain you get?
Well, there's some things that I probably can't say on the radio, but
as clean as you can.
Yeah, no, they mainly say Gavila. Alison Steadman very much became a second mother to me. I mean, a really good pal, but there's a certain maternal element to my relationship with Alison. It did feel like a goodbye in one sense, but the great thing about making a piece of television, if it's good, is that it lasts forever.
Yeah.
So it has an existing legacy that you can watch. So it didn't feel like a goodbye.
Yes, today is somebody who'll be so familiar to you for different reasons. He's appearing on TV screens on Christmas as Gavin Shipman in Gavin and Stacey, but he's also going to be heading towards the West End. Not only is he going to be heading towards them, he's there essentially already. And the Tempest, he is Mathew Horne. Welcome, Matthew. Nice to see you.
Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Are you a Matthew or a Matt?
Matt's fine.
Is it?
It's quicker.
What do you call it at home?
Matt.
Yeah, okay, but your friends are...
Except when I'm being told off, obviously.
You become Matthew straight
Matthew,
up.
Yeah.
How are you today?
I'm excellent, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's a pleasure to have you, and congratulations on, well, so many different things, but Shakespeare is where you are with the Tempest at the moment. Tell us, first of all, what do you want to talk about? Do you want to talk about being on stage, or do you want to give us the pitch for what the Tempest is?
The Tempest is Shakespeare's last play. It's a fantasy play about revenge and forgiveness. And most importantly, this version is starring Sigourney Weaver.
Yes.
So
well, and you, come on, fair billing.
And it's a joy to be doing professional Shakespeare. I've not done Shakespeare since I was 18 at university, which was I want to say unprofessional. Production. It was a non-professional production. It was probably unprofessional too. But I was at university doing drama and film, and I was performing in Hamlet probably around the same time as I was writing essays for my feminist cinema course on Alien. So it's kind of weird.
Brilliant. So you were studying Sigourney Weaver.
Yeah, I was studying Sigourney Weaver as well as doing unprofessional Shakespeare. And now I'm working with Sigourney Weaver and doing professional Shakespeare. So there's a nice little tie up there, and that's all to be processed. This feels like a bit of a Christmas present.
I would imagine.
Yeah.
And how does it work when with something like that? Do you do a stage test with Sigourney Weaver, or do you meet her on the first rehearsal, or do you meet her beforehand for dinner, or how does that all work?
I met her on the first day of rehearsal. Right. I'd worked with the director Jamie Lloyd about 12 years ago on a play called The Pride at Trafalgar Studios, and he asked me to be in this and told me that he'd got Sigourney Weaver to do it, which was obviously a joy, and I accepted very gratefully the opportunity, and she's been an absolute dream to work with. I mean, it really is a dream come true, but it's a dream that I never knew I had, because I never thought, you never think you're going to be working with somebody like that, you know.
I love that, because it was so unlikely that you didn't even accommodate the ambition.
No.
Isn't that amazing? And you did it, did you say you did it like a feminist interpretation of the movie?
No. Part of the film course at university was feminist cinema, and so I'm sure we wrote essays on Alien.
And how is she? How's Sigourney Weaver enjoying herself? Because I believe this might be her first West End appearance.
It's her first West End. She's not been on stage for, I think, 30 years, and she's chosen her stage comeback to be this in the West End, and she is everything you could wish her to be and more. She's very generous, very kind. She's got time for everybody. You don't feel like you're in the room with a superstar. I mean, you do, but you have to put that to one side because there's work to be done.
Yes.
She's a very kind, gentle, but incredibly enigmatic human being, but a joy to work with. Very, very generous, very kind. And yeah, as I said, a dream come true, but I didn't know I had that dream.
And you're in previews at the moment,
Yes.
so you're on stage like later on this evening. You're
Yeah,
on doing...
tonight. So we're on our third preview tonight. But when we're previewing, because we have press night on the 19th of December, which is when people come and write about what they think of it. And so up until then, you have several previews in order to just to tweak and finesse the show,
Yes.
to get it right. But then at the end of every day, we will do a performance too.
as well. So tell me about the leap from something like Gavin and Stacey to West End and Shakespeare. What's happening in your head?
Gratitude is one thing. I knew about the job before I started the finale of Gavin and Stacey, so it was really nice that I had something lined up. The industry is really tricky at the moment. It's a kind of in flux.
In what sense is that?
We're still sort of recovering from the writers' strike and the situation in the pandemic when nobody knew what was going to happen.
Yes.
So work has become more and more scarce for lots and lots of people. So I just feel really lucky that I've had two really big jobs this year, and I've just done it with gratitude, and I feel very lucky.
You feel that like post-pandemic, you've kind of come out with a different head on your shoulders, nearly to say, right, when the work comes, you're kind of go, thank goodness, this is great. No, it's fully deserved, incidentally, but you just like it more.
I feel like that's very much the case for me, and probably a lot of people, specifically in my industry. The future has been so uncertain for so long that any job is a blessing.
I hear you. I need a light Phineas and Ferb. Can we go there for a minute? I mean, we just had a very heavy 3 minutes, but
we've just done a little podcast.
We did actually. That's it. I feel a podcast coming on. Ooh. But Phineas and Ferb, just for a minute, how much fun was that to work on?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean,
it's a cartoon, just to remind people.
A US cartoon that they asked me to do years ago. It was a lot of fun. But I love doing voice work. Do you? Yeah, I absolutely love it. And any time I'm given the opportunity to do any sort of animation work or even be on the radio, I love it.
Doing the voice work, whether it's animation, do you love to try and create, a totally different style or sound? Yeah, and you do, but it's more about the physicality, actually. And you don't really see that unless you've got a camera in the room. We now have in all radio studios, which is terrifying in a different way. But when you're doing voicing an animation and what have you, you really have to throw yourself into it physically, because you have to recreate what the character's doing. And I find that really exciting without being seen. So you don't have that kind of, I suppose, insecurity or inhibited manner. How are you with fame and being well known, being recognised? It's incredible, really, and talking about the pandemic, it allowed me a period of reflection about where I was in my life and what happened to me, and I realised I found myself feeling a lot of feelings of gratitude for what has happened to me and what I've done with my life and the opportunities I've been given and how blessed I am. So what do you get? What do people shout at you on the tube, or what's the most common refrain you get? Well, there's some things that I probably can't say on the radio, but as clean as you can. No, they mainly say Gavala. Yeah, of course. They mainly say that. They just shout it out. Oi, oi, oi. Yeah. And how does the Gavin and Stacey experience sit with you now, looking back? And I know we've got this Christmas special coming up, but where is it in your head, in your heart? It's an incredibly meaningful thing for me, because it is 17 years of a 23-year so far professional acting career, and that is momentous, really. Not every actor gets to experience that, be part of a very small part, but a part of a show which is so meaningful to so many people. Why is that, Matthew? Like, what do you get in terms of people saying, I love the show because, I mean, I can list off warmth, humour, kindness, which is what is so important. But what do you think connected so well that kept it made it so iconic?
I think it's quite an aspirational show in the terms of we all, I think, strive for that human connection, both in family, friendship, and partnerships, romantic partnerships. But I struggle to think of a better televisual representation of love, friendship, and family than Gavin and Stacey.
Well, what a nice thing to say, and what a nice way to sum it all up.
That feels truthful to me.
Yeah, and the Christmas special, how was that to make and put together?
Emotionally charged.
I bet.
For a number of reasons, which is probably another podcast.
Yeah.
Overall, an incredibly powerful, meaningful, and loving experience.
Because you were with all these people who you became family essentially.
Exactly.
And did it feel like a goodbye? Did it feel that lovely sense of this was beautiful and off we go?
It did feel like a goodbye in one sense, but the great thing about making a piece of television, if it's good, is that it lasts forever.
Yeah.
So it has an existing legacy that you can watch. So it didn't feel like a goodbye. There were moments when it's like, oh, I'm not going to be doing that again.
Yes.
Physically in that moment, but the thing that we've made will exist and will live on.
What will you miss most about that experience in your life, that chapter?
I suppose having that second family.
Yeah.
Alison Steadman very much became a second mother to me. I mean, a really good pal, but there's a certain maternal element to my relationship with Alison. And hopefully I will work with her again, but it won't necessarily be in that format. So, yeah, I will miss the family element to it.
Well, next up, Sigourney Weaver on the West End with you leading the bill on The Tempest. So the best of luck. I'm hopefully going to get along to see you on the stage for that. Tickets for The Tempest available at the JamieLloydCompany.com. Mathew, it's been really lovely to meet you and to talk to you. Happy Christmas to you and your family, and here's to a beautiful future.
Merry Christmas to you and all your listeners.
Much obliged.
Virgin Radio.